I'm horror author Paul Edwards. Tonight I'm watching Count Yorga, Vampire, from 1970. Originally, this script was written as the script for an adults-only film, but they realized that if they took out the adults-only portions, the surrounding story structure was good enough to be the script for a real movie. And actor Robert Quarry said that he would play the part of Count Yorga, the vampire, if they took out the adults-only parts and just made it a straightforward horror movie. So that's what they did. In this movie, a group of friends makes the acquaintance of Count Yorga, a European aristocrat who's here visiting the United States. Recently, Count Yorga was the boyfriend of the mother of one of this circle of friends, just before the mother died. So now Count Yorga is familiar with these young adults and is a part of their social circle. As you can imagine, vampire killings start almost immediately. And a big part of the drama in this film is the circle of friends coming to grips with the reality that vampires are real and Count Yorga is among them. Now, this brings up an issue that I run across a lot of the time as a writer, and that is how easily should your characters come to believe the terrible truth that there are monsters? Because if your characters just accept the fact that there's a monster right away, that's not realistic. That's not something that people would really do. If somebody walked in the room and said, "Hey, I just saw a monster out in the yard," you're not going to believe there was really a monster. On the other hand, it's possible to go too far in the other direction. And one of the greatest writers in all of horror, H.P. Lovecraft, often made this mistake, I think. And that is to make the characters so skeptical that even when the proof of something supernatural or uncanny becomes overwhelming, they still will not believe that this is anything abnormal going on. If you do that, your characters end up looking dense, and that's not good. You never want your characters to appear stupid, certainly not your main characters. So you have to strike a balance, and I've had to strike this balance in each of my Mourner's Woods novels, where you have a group of people out in this forbidden wilderness, and it's a different cast every time. And you have to have them slowly but reasonably come to accept the truth of what is out there. If one of them sees, a giant spider from Mourner's Web, then you can report it to other people and they're not going to believe him right away. But if there's really strong evidence that there is a giant spider out there, you don't want the characters to be dense and still refuse to believe it and be overly skeptical to the point where your audience just thinks they're stupid. I think I've done a pretty good job at striking this balance, especially in Mourner's Tour, which is sort of the magnum opus of my collection, where there are two different kinds of monsters that a group of campers encounters out in the wilderness, and they come to accept, not immediately, but reasonably soon, that there are monsters and the monsters are targeting them. Listen, if you enjoy vintage horror and classic monsters, you should check out my book series, the Mourner's Woods books. I'm self-published on Amazon. I've written a series of novels that take place in Mourner's Woods, a haunted forest. And I bring back the vibe and feel of 20th century monster movies. Basically, these are novels for people who like 20th century monster movies. I'm self-published on Amazon. I put a link to my books in the description for this video. Thanks for letting me talk to you some about Count Yorga, Vampire. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.